Darcy Reed here today, back with the second part of this layout that I started in my last video for this Overcoming Scrappers block series. And this is the back side of the 6x12 plus another 9x12. And I've been contemplating what I wanted to do. If you remember, in my last video, I talked about making the colors coordinate across the spread, and I decided to basically completely abandon that and go with this color scheme. So I am bringing in some of the same stuff, the yellow, this sort of tribal pattern, but I am gonna pull in some blue and pink as well. I really wanted something feminine and girly for this spread, this side particularly. And then I also have this sunflower card that I didn't use last time. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to incorporate it, whether it's going to be on this side or here, maybe here. I'm not sure yet. But then I also have this paper from the other side and this other Studio Calico paper. I basically just want to use these Studio Calico papers up. I didn't really like them particularly, but I do really love this floral, and I thought it went well enough with these photos to incorporate it. So that is what I am focusing on for this spread. So again, we've got the yellow, the black, and the gray from the other side. And we're just incorporating a couple new colors for this side. And I'm actually totally okay with that. It does not have to match completely all the way across. And in fact, that would probably be a little bit boring. So taking some of the old colors, I'm omitting the orange, but I'm taking the rest of the old colors and I'm putting them onto the other side of the spread and incorporating this pink and this blue. This pink is similar to the orange, so they're not going to clash at all. They'll hopefully coordinate pretty well, but we'll see at the end how well it goes. Okay, I'm going to start now. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start with the 9x12. And one of the things that I wanted to think about with this spread was that it did not have to match the other side perfectly. Obviously, I am using a completely different color palette, even though I am incorporating some of the same papers. The addition of the blue and the pink changes up the feel of everything. So what I thought here was, instead of like working in paper strips, I really loved the cascading effect of these papers as they sort of moved up the page, and I really felt like it not reflected, but mimicked the idea of me jumping into the air here. So I decided to just go for it, and I hate wasting paper. So I just decided to trim out the centers of those background papers so that I didn't have to waste them. I don't know why. I have more product than anyone's ever going to use in their whole entire life, but the idea of wasting product just really bothers me. So I cut out the centers, and now you would never know. I love this She's a Wildflower. That is an old, I believe, Dear Lizzie chipboard that I still have in my stash. And I thought it was perfect for this spread. It matches the colors and the vibe perfectly, so that's what I went with as my base. And I have to incorporate this journaling card with the sunflowers on them, or I would be very disappointed in myself. And since I'm not going to incorporate it on the 6x12 pocket side, it went on this side. So I've got the base now, and I'm going to use the same die cuts that I used in my last video on the other side, and that is a way that I'm going to kind of tie both sides together, even though they are using completely different color palettes. Well, okay, I keep saying completely different, but obviously I am incorporating some of the same papers. We're coordinating, not matching in this video, and that's something that I think a lot of scrapbookers have struggles with, is knowing when to match your spreads and when to coordinate them. So just because all of these photos were the same event, the same photo session, that doesn't mean that they have to match perfectly. It's kind of like a fashion rule too, right? You want to coordinate, not match. We're doing that in our scrapbooking. So I'm adding in some journaling, or not some journaling, some word strips. The same ones from the other side. I wanted to add in black and white just like on the other side. And then I'm going to start using the same papers for the pocket side. So we're going to start building up the pocket side here. Going to incorporate some more of that blue so it doesn't just look like an accident. And then we've got the gray wood grain and the yellow gingham. I used the heck out of that yellow gingham on these two spreads, didn't I? Look at it, folds in the middle. No big deal, as soon as I put the picture down, it won't fold anymore. Okay, so we've got everything sort of adhered down now, and we can start working on pulling the two sides together. And we're going to do that just like we did in the previous video and start using some of the same die cuts and same embellishments as on the 9x12 side. Pro tip, if you have red line tape that you cannot get the backing off of, which I can never get the backing off of the red line tape, stick the sticky side to the photo or the layout, the place on it that you want to put that enamel dot or whatever it is that you need to stick there, because it will stick to photos way better than it will stick to like the back of plastic. And then you can peel the backing off and just stick your, well, I stuck my little gold heart down there, and it was so much easier than sticking it to the heart and trying to peel the backing off. So I'm going to cut out some hearts with my heart punch. I pulled out the heart punch on the previous video and didn't end up using it. So I'm going to use it on this side of the spread, and I'm going to go back and forth between the newsprinty side and the blue side just to incorporate a little bit more blue. And you can see I've also brought in those acrylic pieces that I couldn't make work on the other side. We're going to make them work on this side instead. I'm really loving the fact that I got these out of my stash. I find acrylic so hard to work with, and I'm super excited that I got it to work. So I initially put this down with a heart on the bottom. See, look, I'm trying to get off that plastic, or that red line tape on that plastic, and it was just giving me struggles. Initially I put it down with the heart on the bottom, but I moved the heart up to the top because it makes more sense. This back of this heart has pink on it, so I pull in the pink from the other side with that heart. Then blue up here in this corner. Then I'm going to incorporate a blue one over here as well behind these word strips. So I pulled the hearts to both sides of the layout like I like to do. Both sides of the spread, I suppose. Going to stick this one down as well. Red line tape giving me fits. Drives me nuts. I don't know why it's so hard to get off the backing, but it is. It just pulls up from the plastic every single time instead. Put that up in that corner. So I decided that I need to reorient this card so that the two black pieces aren't both on the outside edge of the layout. And then I change things up a little bit more in the video, and this becomes irrelevant, but whatever. I'm gonna pull out some more embellishments. I really thought about adding that pink up there in the top, but I just didn't want to fight with it. I didn't want to add more and change things again. So instead I'm going to add a bunch of enamel dots. So I'm adding in pink and black ones. I'm actually going to rearrange the way I do this in a second, because I really wanted to use up all of these enamel dots. Enamel dots are something that just hang out in my stash a lot, and I don't like it. So I'm going to add all these pink over here instead, and then add black on the cards. Alright, so using up the last of those enamel dots. I'm going to add in my journaling on that sunflower card, but I'm going to do it off camera, of course. I always add in my journaling after I turn everything off. That way I can think and not have to worry about it. Adding in some more of these sticker strips. You know I love my words. And I have to have black and white on both sides because that's just the pattern that I've been doing. So I want to make sure I've got them on both sides. I don't know. Oh, I added a little gold love heart. There we go. I want to add in this feather because I thought it matched the theme, and then I'm going to call it good. We're going to switch over to the live voiceover, look at both of these pages together, and you can hear my thoughts on how it came together and how I made it work. All right, let's switch over. Okay, so I put these in the pockets so that we could see the whole thing together. So obviously these are the spreads that I just worked on, and I'm really loving the mix of the blue in here. I think it really added a lot to this side of the spread. As much as I love this side of the spread and it came out so cool, I really like the addition of the extra color on this side, which just goes to show that you can have the same set of photos and scrap them in completely different ways depending on your mood and the mood of the spread that you want to evoke. So some of the ways that I tied these two together are through the use of black, especially these black and white embellishments that are all over both spreads. So even though they don't color coordinate perfectly, because I use these black and white embellishments on both sides, they still coordinate in other ways. Another way that I coordinated it across both spreads without matching the colors is I used some of the same papers. So I used this same tribal sort of design, this sort of gray wood grain plus this yellow gingham on both sides of the spread, so you can see that they go together. And then last thing I did was I sort of, not specifically, but I did keep in mind to keep the style of the thing, the spread, both sides, consistent. So I did not like repeat the pennant flags on this side. However, I do have a lot of paper layering going on and a lot of straight edges. I didn't tilt this photo, but I did tilt the journaling card to sort of mimic that angle. And then on both sides of the pocket page, I kept the photos sort of on the large side, but not completely taking up the whole pocket so that I could layer. So the whole thing comes together pretty well, I think, even if I didn't carry the orange throughout and I added some extra color, because I did keep some of the design principles and some of the embellishments the same. Like I used these gold hearts, I used another one over here. So because I did that, this whole thing came together really well and not boring in a way that I think maybe it could have potentially gone, especially if I was really, really reverent, I think, of the photos themselves because I love them so much. So by that I mean maybe keeping it like the full pocket page and being afraid to cut them down, being afraid to layer over the top of them, because I was so willing to put things on top of these photos and cut them down to a size that is more manageable. I think it really helped me get over my scrapper's block about this page and tackling photos that you really, really love. So I hope that you enjoyed this series of videos. I hope that you're getting something out of it and you're overcoming your own scrapper's blocks with these videos. Let me know in the comment section below if you're having your own scrapper's block, if you have something you'd like me to address in this series. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear them. Your comments are always so sweet and they brighten up my day. If you don't already, I'd love it if you subscribe and give this this video a thumbs up if you have a moment. And if you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed, and I'd love to see you over there as well. All right, thank you.